Hello, my name is Billie Ballingy. I'm a retired attorney and I am a former member of the Cedar Hill ISD School Board. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about Cedar Hill ISD's proposed bond that will be on the May the 6th, 2023 ballot. You'll see on your screen what that ballot language is. And they are asking for $208 million of bonds. And there are a couple of things highlighted on here. The ballot language says that if it passes, that we, the voters, will be required to pay the principal and interest on that bond. A bond is just like a note. It's like a mortgage on a house or debt to pay off a car. Cedar Hill ISD submitted this language to Dallas County to go on the ballot, and please note that it says that this is a property tax increase. And that is the case, despite what anyone else may tell you. Before we talk about what's in the bond, let's talk about a few things that are not in the bond. Number one, this bond will not in any way affect teacher salary. This is to pay for a mortgage. It's not to pay for salaries. It won't improve discipline. It won't improve academics. It won't improve customer service. It won't restore confidence in Cedar Hill ISD. This is only to do physical things like you are repairing your kitchen or building an add-on to your house. School board discussed this twice. The first time was on February the 6th of this year, and they had two different options: a higher priced bond proposal and a lower priced bond proposal. The lower priced bond proposal in the February 6th meeting, the exact words will be on your screen, described a proposal for $135 million that would include safety and security, would be nothing extravagant, but would get the basics done and get the buildings back and functional and operable, and would cost approximately $135 million. They also had a much higher priced bond at $208 million. That was discussed at the February 6th meeting, and it was passed at the February 9th meeting. There was very little discussion at either of those meetings about the lower priced one. I see it as the difference in needs and wants. So let's look at a few things that are in this bond as opposed to what's not in it. Number one, they're asking us to pay to replace pear trees at campuses. This is something that would normally be covered by a maintenance budget as opposed to a 25-year-old bond. They're asking us to pay approximately $11 million in safety and security items. Now, the issue with that is that there are grants available. The Texas Education Agency, through the state of Texas, has grants for safety and security for the things that are in this very bond. And there has never been any indication that Cedar Hill has applied for these grants. And let me just say, I know you can go on the TEA website and find the information about the bonds that are available for safety and security through them. I suspect there are others available, perhaps through the federal government or otherwise. At Cedar Hill High School, they want to replace pine trees. They want to remove a visitor stand from an old field, and they want to replace the seats in the very, very large auditorium, much larger than you would ever have a classroom, from having just regular seats to seats where you can pull a desk out and write at that seat. At Bessie Coleman Intermediate School or Middle School, they want to add on 12,000 square feet, even though that school has a capacity for 800 students and currently has only 689. At High Point Elementary, they want to have a fine arts academy. It's difficult for me to determine exactly the cost of that Fine Arts Academy from the material that I have looked at, but roughly I think the Fine Arts Academy costs about $30 million. And likewise, that school is underpopulated, even when you consider students from Bray Elementary that may transfer there. Look, an elementary school teaching arts needs a cafeteria stage. They need some instruments. They need a lot of art supplies and maybe some art curriculum. It shouldn't cost $30 million. And the same would be the case for Bessie Coleman. Now, how is this going to be paid for? You will see on your screen a document that CHISD is required to prepare, which tells us how they plan to pay for it. And in 2023, $0 would go to this bond. But beginning in 2024, the district would start paying roughly $9,500,000 on an annual basis to pay off the note that they would be taking out. And you'll see at the bottom of that chart that with principal and interest, we are really going to be paying $378 million. Over a period of time, those payments increase. And the chart you'll soon see, if you don't already, will be a graph that I did that charts a few of the years that shows the increase in those payments. You will see that in 2024, if this didn't pass, we would never pay a penny of this money. We would not pay $1 of the $378 million. So every bond that we approve is a tax rate increase because we're going to pay a big zero if it fails. You can see from the chart, it's right here, that it's going to increase over time. And if you look at the ballot language, remember I pointed out to you that if it passes, they are entitled to levy a tax sufficient to pay that ever-increasing principal and interest payment. Now, instead of focusing on fine arts additions and pear trees and removing things from old places, Cedar Hill ISD, in my mind, needs to be focusing on their core mission. Look, I had all three of my children were in the arts program. But the thing that's most important is that they learn what they're supposed to learn. You can go to the TEA website and you can find a chart that compares Cedar Hill's performance to other school districts that the Texas Education Agency says is comparable. They look at similar sizes, they look at similar economics of the population. And you will see that back in 2013, Cedar Hill ISD compared in the upper echelon. And it has decreased like a rock over the last 3 years. We've gone from the top 65 percentile to the bottom 6% of all comparable districts. I'm going to put on the screen where you can actually go and find that chart at the Texas Education Agency website. Just push pause if you want to go look it up. Our independent school district is failing our students, fellow citizens. They're doing fairly well in the collegiate programs, making A's and B's. But on your screen is what the Texas Education Agency ratings are and what the equivalent letter grade would be for how those schools are performing. And these grades measure academic achievement, which is what the students are learning in each grade, whether they're able to think critically and apply their knowledge at grade level, and how well they prepare them for success after high school. And as you can see, our district is not performing well. We had 4 requests for money on the November ballot. We are having 1 on the May ballot. They've already told us that again in November, they're going to ask for another tax rate election. In 1 year, they will have spent all kinds of time and money and energy on getting more money, and money did not cause grades this bad. This is what every ounce of Cedar Hill ISD's money should be spent on. In addition, Cedar Hill has not been completely forthright with us in what they have told us about these bond propositions. They told us in November that if all 4 of their requests for funds were passed, that it would either not affect or very minimally affect what we paid in property taxes. I did not find this document on their website in November, but it's up on your screen. And what it shows is that they passed a tax rate charging us $1.31, rounding the numbers, for every $100 of valuation if the bond and the TRE, the request for money in November, passed. But if it is not approved by the voters, then the tax rate would be $1.19. They passed a resolution for $1.31 if it passed. It did not pass. All 4 failed. And so our tax rate today is $1.19. They didn't tell us that if they failed, we would save a whole lot of money and pay a whole lot less in taxes. And friends, that's exactly what happens if this bond fails. We will, as they pay off additional debt, have a decrease in our tax rate. Additionally, for some reason, Cedar Hill ISD misrepresented the outcome of the November election. There were in the neighborhood of 15,500 voters that voted in that election. And when the school board canvassed the votes, they canvassed them as if only about 4,500 people had voted, as opposed to the 15,000 plus people that voted, and told people they lost one proposition by 7 votes, which was never true. They canvassed the votes incorrectly. Why, I don't know. The superintendent was shown them accurate numbers at a school meeting, denied them. And you can go to Dallas County Elections website and see that there were some 15,800 voters versus the 4,500 voters that Cedar Hill ISD claims cast. I know this. I know that the numbers they used made it look like they lost by a smaller margin than the actual numbers showed. Another credibility issue that Cedar Hill faces is that in the February 6, 2023 board meeting, the administration was asked what this election on May the 6th would cost the district. And administration, more than once, I believe, said that this election would not cost any money. It would cost $0. But then in the school board meeting of March the 20th of 2023, and I'm sure some of you have seen or heard some of these items, their director of communications went through with the board all the things that the district was going to be doing. And of course, the district always has to hire consultants, building and planning consultants. They have to hire bond consultants, finance consultants. But in addition to that, the communications director told the board that they would be preparing campus signage, yard signs, mobile billboards, paid advertising, posters, flyers, direct mailings. There will be employees' salaries, citizens that will go to preparing the printed materials, updating the Cedar Hill ISD website about the bond, attending public meetings. They are going to plan to write daily social media posts and create multiple video presentations. They pay employees to do that, and that costs money. Cedar Hillians, on May the 6th, I will be voting against Cedar Hill ISD's proposition, and I encourage you to as well. Many in our community would have voted for the $135 million option. You'll see on your screen here shortly where you can vote for early voting and where you can vote for Election Day. And I thank you for listening. I hope this video finds you having a good day, and farewell.